Bookstackers. Today we're doing a comparison of Vampire Academy with the movie and the book. Just a warning that there are spoilers in this, obviously. So if you want something that's spoiler free and you're keen to know about Vampire Academy, look at our spoiler free review. If you want to know our first thoughts of the movie and if you should watch it or not, we hated it. It was so bad. It's definitely the worst movie I saw this year.
This year, yeah. We got to a point and then we just kind of like sped through because I was like, let's just see what happens
last
at the end.
half an hour, because we looked at how much time was left in the movie because it got to that point. And we were like, oh my God, the half an hour left? This movie got another half an hour.
It just kept going. There was just so much more. And I was like, I already know what's meant to happen. So
And all the characters, right? All of them were just wrong. None of them were the way they should have been. Like, Christian was the only one who looked like he was supposed to. Christian looked like Christian, how I imagined him. Slightly more clean cut, maybe, you know?
I expected more like messy hair.
Yeah. But his personality was like freaking Ed Cullen.
Ed Cullen? You're like his best bud. And you're like, hey, Ed boy. I just want to mention an old Twitter handle. PJ Twyfan.
No, we're not talking.
Also, probably a couple email addresses, you know?
Yeah, they're all gone now.
Sadly.
And like, Dimitri was not the right age. Like, he looked like her uncle. And, like, in the book, they specifically say, like, there's a line that says that he was old enough to be, well, he's not really old enough to be my dad or my uncle. And I'm like...
Yeah, but then, in the movie, she's like... Because they have the line right, but they change it to make it weirder. Because she's like, he's old enough to be my, well, not really my dad, sort of like a hot uncle.
And I'm like, that's not hot.
It was uncomfortable.
And like, no one was old enough either. Like, the headmistress was too young and Queen Tatiana was too young. Like, none of them felt old enough for the way they were described in the book, and their personalities were all very different. Like, Lissa was way more chill with everything than she was in the book.
Because she was supposed to be really, like, not okay with the bond and the way Rose kept using it to, like, look into her head. She's like, that's a serious invasion of privacy, and I would really appreciate if you didn't do that. But in the movie, she was like, haha, caught you.
It was just so underplayed, and I think they tried to make it really funny and lighthearted.
Yeah, but it's like, there are some serious issues going on in the book that they try to discussed really well in the book, and in the movie they're just so like.
But the good thing about the book was that it was so dark and heavy, but you had this character Rose who was quite sassy and funny, and that kind of brought light to serious subjects. But it wasn't the whole tone. Like Mia was meant to have the curly ringlets,
porcelain doll ringlets,
and then she's got a pixie cut in the movie, and I was like.
Like, you look great, hun.
I was like, why have we made Mia darker and everything else?
I enjoyed when she was with the whole porcelain doll look, but she was smarter than she seemed.
Yeah.
And she was really ready to go in for that revenge.
Yeah, whereas in this they just made her seem like she was petty and bitchy. And as soon as she was found out, she crumpled, and I was like, what?
No, in the book, she is ready to go back. She's like, F you.
Yeah.
And I liked that.
Well, the way that Mia was portrayed in the movie was how I imagined Rose to be. The personality of her, I was like, why did you not cast her as Rose? Right? The casting was just odd choices, I think. And I know that some of the actors in there were really good. People would pop up and I'd be like, what are you doing in this?
What have you done to deserve this?
How much did they pay you?
Also, why are the Moroi British? All the Moroi, they were they have to have British accents because they're the royal people and they're fancy.
Rose, what are you doing? I was like, Rose! Where's your American accent? I know... In the book, I just assumed that all of them had an American accent, and then a few of them maybe had the Russian accent or the Russian tinge, because that makes sense within the whole thing. Especially because Rose and Lissa grew up together.
I feel like they went too hard trying to be but the Moroi are the fancy ones, right? And it's
rather than showing it with clever other techniques. That was a bit too far.
They can be American.
And also, the actor who played Dimitri, just he just had no charisma in that role. And I haven't seen him in other stuff, so maybe he's great there, but specifically in this film, he was giving nothing. There was no chemistry between any of the characters, but very specifically between the two of them.
Like, the bits where they're going to have sex, right? And it's weird.
That was so
And he's like,
uncomfortable.
what are we doing? And it's like, God, was there any intonation in this?
It just reminded me of The Room. The
Tommy
Lisa,
Wiseau.
you're tearing me apart. I was like, oh my god, it's the same person. And the hair was horrific. Like,
When it was down, it wasn't that bad. Because it was like sort of for the time, right? It was like, what, 2000 and something. But then he put it up in the tiny little ponytail, and his hair was really thin, so it wasn't like, it was just like this little spiky thing.
it just wasn't hot.
And I'm like, where's the luscious hair?
They just did like weird changes to the movie that weren't necessary. And they kept in all these weird like flirty quotes from the book.
Right, during the weird flirty bits, they kept those lines, and I was like, why the would you do that?
But then in other bits they completely change it. Like when Queen Tatiana came to the house,
she had such a sick burn in the book. She
Oh,
was like,
good.
your name means this, and that's great, but you do not live up to that. And I was like, oh,
I was like,
oh. And then in the movie, she like calls her up in front of the entire school, just like, hey, come up here, you know, because they're having like an assembly thing, and she's like, oh, sorry, I showed up like without any notice. And I'm like, but then why are they having an assembly? And I don't understand
Nothing
why
made
they
sense.
can. And then, literally, at the end of that scene, they were like, let's go to the dining hall. I'm like, why didn't you have that scene in the dining hall?
Like it was in the
meant to
book.
be. I don't understand why you changed that. In the book, they mentioned the dungeons like once or twice.
Yeah.
And then they like ran with it. They were like, there's a dungeon that's gonna be
dungeon.
high tech.
and there was like a weird scene at the beginning where they ran into Strigoi, and the whole point is that Rose doesn't see a Strigoi until she sees Natalie.
Yeah, because that, like, it's not even the Strigoi attacking them at the climax of the book. It's the Danfirs who
Yeah.
work for the uncle dude.
I think
Stupid.
that it was so that they could do all those beautiful flying stunts. They were trying to do fight scenes, but it just looked like...
The bit at the start where Dimitri hits Rose and she just flies backwards.
The way they did it just looked as... Physics was not a part of that sequence at all. It's just so funny. I was like, are you trying to be serious? Like, I'm not sure what tone we're going for here.
Speaking of wonderful, amazing things that people just went all in for. The bit where Rose snaps her... I don't think it's even her ankle. I think it's like a whole leg that just explodes at her shin. But there's a bit, right? In the book, it's very realistic seeming. Like her foot would have gotten caught in the bench and she fell off sideways, and I was imagining it like snapping
swinging, and you're like,
Yeah, and I was like, oh, that
great.
sounds horrifying. Thanks. But in the movie, right, they changed it completely. Don't know why. She's just running after Lissa because Lissa's mad at her. And she's running, and then this little hole appears in the concrete, and she steps right into it. And then I don't think she even steps forward. Her leg just
The
snaps.
leg just keeps going.
Like, no, not all her leg though.
No, just
only
the
one
top bit.
bone. Like,
And the blood, it was like...
it happened so quickly, and then they flashed to black. I was so confused. Also, speaking of things dying, we're not speaking of things dying, but things breaking, right? That raven, right?
It just like crumpled.
Like the raven towards the start that flew into the statue.
It looked like as well, it didn't even see it. There was just a statue. It was the most like thing. It was like crunch, and I was like, did you not see the statue? Did you not have any instinct to like go around it? You have wings. Flap a little harder.
If they had made it a window, fine, whatever. Birds fly into windows all the time. But a statue is not a clear pane of glass. I'm sure they'd know where they are,
Yeah.
right? Also, it doesn't actually die though. That's my issue. Because the raven's supposed to be Shadowkiss as well, right? So it's supposed to have reached death and then been brought back to life.
Yeah.
It doesn't actually die, it's still twitching
It
on
was
the ground.
twitching. It was like, and also, like, if the raven's stupid enough to go into the statue, why is Lissa bothering saving this dumb bird?
Also, that bit where they were like trying to get her to like bring the cat back to life because they killed the cat and put it in the backpack.
Why was the cat there?
I'm not even like, there's that obviously. Like they just brought the cat in because they were like, she loves this cat. Like she can't just have compassion for other animals, whatever. But the cameras and like she looks around and it zooms in on every single one of them and she's like, I see them. I'm gonna try and save it anyway. And Rose doesn't even try that hard to stop her. So I just don't understand. why they did so many
They made some
things.
interesting choices. Oh, and the CGI for the Psy Hounds? I don't know who was on CGI or who even, like, checked off on the designs of the Psy
They were
Hounds.
so ripped.
It was like this ball of muscle on twig legs.
The Psyhound skipped leg day.
Like, how does that even work with physics? Because, like, they'd be running,
No.
and surely they would just, like, the weight of them would crush their legs. It'd just be like a blob.
Though, to be fair, have you seen the video of that really ripped cat?
No?
Dude, if you've seen the video, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
You have
But
to
it's
show me
just-
after.
It's this huge cat. Like, it looks like the Psyhounds in the thing, but it's a real cat.
Why didn't they get the cat? That would have been so much better. Why couldn't the cat that Lissa bought be a buff boy?
Also, it didn't hate Rose that much. Like, it never reacted badly. Like, couldn't they have done something to get it to, like, hiss at her or something? Because it never did. And I was like, it's supposed to hate her. And she mentions once that animals don't like her.
Yeah.
But that's it. And it doesn't actually, like, do anything to show that.
They just didn't explain some things, and then they explained other unnecessary things. I was like,
And then they threw other things in. Like the headmistress, right? For, like, a good 10, 15 minutes or something in the movie.
Yep.
They were pointing to her being the bad person because she was, like, talking with Mia, and it was all shady as and everything. And I don't understand where that came
they
from.
never explained it.
And it didn't even, like, there was no follow through. It explained that they had the bandages on their wrists because of the weird blood spurting thing that they were talking
Oh,
about.
yeah, can we talk about the blood spurting? Because in the book, Mia, it said that she slept with Jesse and Rafe, that she slept with them separately so that they would spread a rumour about Rose. In the movie, though, they took it upon themselves that, no, Mia had a threesome with them all, and they did this thing called blood spurting, which isn't ever mentioned in the book.
Yeah, because in the book, they're like the vampires, like, blood during sex is, like, super not cool, and then they were
Yeah.
talking about the blood spurting thing, like, was this whole new trend and stuff, and
And I'm like, that wasn't in the book, what are you talking about?
but what they spelled out with the blood,
I'm so
like,
mad
why
about
couldn't
it.
they at least spell it properly?
At least use a dictionary before you use your blood. With Lissa's compulsion as well. Like, it was...
She was so close to
They
the
did like
camera.
a fisheye effect and her face is like in
she's
the
like,
middle of the screen. She's like,
You
"Do
will
what I
listen
say."
to me.
Please stop. You're like making me really
Like,
uncomfortable.
you're supposed to just be talking normally. And they could have shown, like, the effort she put into it with, like, a little drop of sweat or something. I don't know. Her pupils widening. Didn't they
pupils
do that
widening.
in, like, other vampire
That's,
things?
yeah, pupils widening is classic. Let's do that one. There's a reason people don't do
Or
fisheye.
maybe if there was just better acting in general, they would have been able to portray that.
Also, like, when they would do the Bond, it'd be third person at some points.
Yeah, just occasionally a little third person point of view, and I'm like, but that's not how looking through somebody else's eyes works,
like-
unless there's another person in the corner.
As well as they would do the third person view, but they would still have the effect of like the black around the corners like it was an eye. And I was like, is someone else watching this? I'm confused.
Like, they were like, we need a different point of view for this, but we'll keep the effect, but it's like Lissa's thrown her eyes over there.
So just pretend. Just pretend.
Also, there's a bit where Rose gets this, like, telegram from her mum instead of just a email, because they have
meant to be an
laptops and
email.
stuff, and they use the internet later on, so whatever.
I don't understand.
But she gets a telegram from her mum. She, like, opens it as she's leaning against a tree, and she's like, huh. And then we don't know what it finds. We don't find out
I
what
mean,
it says.
we know what it is because we've read the book, but we don't know what it is because this movie's changing everything.
And
So
then-
what do we know? You know?
Right. And then at the very end of the movie, right, they have, or like something like that, they have her getting another telegram from her mum, and it's like, proud mum, and she looks, and I'm like, are we supposed to be happy for her? We know nothing about their relationship. I don't care that her mum's proud of her. I don't know what sort of relationship they have.
It's funny though, because in the book, I cared about characters' relationships and I cared about what was happening to them. In the movie, I was like, I don't care if Rose and Dimitri are having issues. I don't care about Rose and Lissa. Like, they don't really seem like best friends. I don't really care about anyone's relationships.
You want the movie to have a good plot or good characters, and it had neither.
We wanted the movie to be good as well. We were there like, yes, we like Vampire Academy. Show us what you can do. Oh, you did that.
Right? That's that's the reaction I had when I watched the Aragon movie. To be fair, when I was younger, I loved the Aragon movie, but I was that was required for the second movie to be done. Don't yawn when I'm speaking.
Sorry.
Anyway, Aragon movie let me down. Just
And so did this one. Definitely preferred the book. The whole story was better in the book and it made way more sense, and like the tone was a lot more interesting and I cared about the characters. The movie ruined those things for me. So in conclusion, if you loved the book, you will probably really not like the movie. Don't watch the movie first.
No.
If you're looking into
not
watching
first.
Vampire Academy, do not watch it first. But if you do want to watch it,
there's
just
no
skip
way.
ahead.
There's no way I would have read the book if I'd watched the movie first, because I would have been like, "What the is this?"
And then also her image of Dimitri would have been tainted.
Yeah.
So, anyway, make sure to comment down below if you've watched this movie, what you thought about it, what your favourite moment was in it.
Please share your thoughts about all the wonderful things in
Please
that
tell
movie.
us. And if there's anything in here that we haven't talked about that you would love to talk about or hear our opinion about, we will
are always ready to bag on that movie.
Yeah. We're happy to do more chats about this movie in the comments below.
Yeah.
Well, there won't be another video, I assure you, but we will be commenting. Be sure to check out our other videos and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.